Good evening, how are you? So I'm just waiting for Katie to join us live, and we're going to be talking about vibes tonight. Yeah, quite excited about that one. So hopefully, we've not done this split screen, the two of us before, so hopefully Katie will see this and be able to join momentarily. So I hope you've all been having a good evening. I've just taught a yoga class and a meditation class, and I've been busy writing up a communications email for February with some February offers for you. So hopefully that'll come through tonight. Katie, hello, I can see you watching. Hopefully you can click to join. Hopefully on your phone as well, because you can't join from a laptop, just in case I forgot to tell you that. Bring them on video, let's do that. Ha! Hey,
You did it!
how are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Indeed.
Yes. Delay.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
All right. I'm not drinking anything because I have not stopped and I didn't have a chance to make a drink. So this will be a cup of air with Luke. At least it's decaf.
Well, yeah, decaffeinated air. When we have air with caffeine in, that's when we know the world is really coming to an end, right?
Yeah. So let's talk vibes.
Vibes. Yeah. Shall I? Because I sort of suggested this one.
Yeah.
Shall I go?
Yeah,
Okay.
you go.
So I'm reading a book. What a surprise! Another one to add to my list of books I've probably read 10 pages of. And it's this one. Oh, is it? It's backwards on my screen.
It is backwards.
The Honeymoon Effect.
Ooh.
It's basically how to have that lovely feeling you get when you're in a new relationship with somebody that, you know, just sort of sustains you. It's how to have it all the time. So I was like, well, that sounds really cool.
Possible? Apparently.
Well, I'm on page 46, so I'll tell you later. But there's a bit in it about vibes. So the guy who wrote the book said a guy moved in down the road from him, and he got this really bad vibe from him, but he ignored it and sort of tried to befriend him and be nice and whatever else. And even though he got this really, really strong icky vibes from this person, and it turned out he should have listened to his gut instinct, because this guy ended up stealing a load of stuff from him.
Nice.
So coincidence, or he's actually not a nice person? Anyway, this part of the book I'm reading is all about how we should really listen to that instinct, because it's primal. You know, it's like it predates language. So these sort of connective feelings we have with people, whether they're good or they're bad, they're telling us something. I thought, oh, that's juicy. That's got legs. That's a Katie and Luke coffee conversation. So what do you think?
Well, it's interesting because I talk a lot about this in human design. It's a huge part of human design, actually. And it's about our intuition. And the problem, I think, is that we've been taught to kind of live through our minds, to think about everything. And just like this guy has said, he thought, you know, maybe he is a nice person. Maybe I should give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I should befriend him. But instinctively, he knew not to. And as you say, it's like this primal instinct that we have. And so in human design, we talk about all of us having these instincts, but that we all have a slightly different variation of this instinct depending upon our charts. So, for example, particularly in the spiritual world, but I mean, a lot of people these days bang on about gut instinct all the time. And actually, you know, some of us do have a gut instinct, but others don't. There are different kinds of primal instinct. So, for example, I have what's called a splenic instinct, which is possibly similar to what this guy is describing in the book, which is a really primal, instinctive thought or feeling that comes over you in a split second.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Katie, when I met you, I was like, I like her. but I didn't have any means or rationale behind that. I hadn't had a conversation with you yet. I hadn't, you know, apart from the odd messages that we've had. But it was an instinctive thing when I met you, something about my aura connected with your aura, and I went, like that one. But then,
the thing's mutual, as they say in Neighbours.
Yeah, and then I met you, and I was like, no, not really.
Can't shake her off now. She's following me around.
So, but that's instinctive, right? There was no rationale behind that at all. And the problem that we have is that we're then taught to take it to our brain, so we must rationalize it. So if I have a really negative instinct towards someone, just like this guy has said in the book, but his mind says, oh, ignore that, you know, think about it logically. You have no reason to doubt him.
Yeah.
And then we end up tripping ourselves up, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. And so there are other aspects of this where if you've got a gut instinct, you've got to lean into it and really feel it. It's not necessarily split seconds. You've got to lean into it a little bit more. It's relatively quick. So that's another kind of instinct. And then you get like an emotional response instinct. So there are all these different types of instincts that we all have. They're called our authority in human design. Yeah. But they're just slightly different. So it's not all about this one gut instinct, but it's about, you know, how do we use our strongest sense within us to navigate stuff like that? I can't remember what yours was when I did yours. Was it emotional?
God, I don't know. I need to dig it out again and remember.
Yeah, because there's this emotional instinct where if you're having like an emotional wave like this, and you know your actual gut response might not be accurate because you're being affected by your emotions. So you want to wait until you're cool, calm, and collected, and then listen to your instincts.
That sounds right, because I seem to remember you saying to me with mine, I've got to wait before I could have a tendency to be impulsive and ride the emotion in the wrong way. So I have to wait. And that actually does sound like me. I have to just, not very long, but I have to just give myself a breathing space and then, yeah.
So that's emotional instinct, recognizing that if you're in a high or a low, your instinct might be a bit skewed.
Yeah.
So once you've taken a breath and you're neutral, then you're more likely to make an accurate response. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's story of my life.
Yeah. But none of that is thinking.
No. That's really interesting, because I've realized, especially quite recently, I've realized that I think with my gut. So I'm doing a lot of training in thinking at the moment. As you know, I'm doing all this sort of training in the thinking environment, mind thinking environment. And the key question in this is, what do you think or feel or want to say? And I always land on that word feel to get to what I think, because I personally, I really struggle to know what I think before I have to feel my way into it. So that for me has become a guide. So I have to do both of those things. But yeah, I don't know about you, but I've also had situations, not just people. I've had situations in my life where I got myself into a situation where my gut instinct's been going, don't do that, Katie, really.
All the time.
Don't do that. It's a really bad idea. And I've done it because my brain's gone. So the one I'm thinking about is a few years ago, I was asked to take a writing training course. This is when I was working as a copywriter. And my old boss said to me, oh, Katie, it's with this big company in London. You've got to go up there like for a whole day and train all these smart suits in how to do copywriting. And I went, I don't want to do that. But then I looked at what he was prepared to pay me and I went, oh, I don't want to do it, but and I had a proper wrangle. And so I couldn't think of any logical reason why I couldn't do it. The reason it was all gut, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to take this course. It's not my content. I'm going to find it really difficult, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I took it. And oh God, I regretted it. I really regretted it. On the train on the way up to London, I was so stressed. I thought I was going to have a panic attack. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And it was a really stressful day. And if I'd listened to myself, you know, what I already knew, and the logical decision of, oh, it's good money, I should do that, I would have saved myself all that stress and aggro. And I've never done it again based on, you know, off the back of that. I'm not going to do that again. But if you got So you've got yourself into scrapes.
Oh,
Yeah.
with everything. Yeah, I can't think of an example off the top of my head because there are far too many. But I do exactly that. I switch into my brain because what are we taught when we grow up? We go to school and we're taught to think. We're naughty, we're taught to think about what we did. You know, everything is geared towards us thinking, using our brains, training our brains for exams,
Yeah.
training memory to memorize stuff that we don't even need. You know, and everything is about the brain.
Yeah.
But there's some science at the moment, and I mean, really going to misquote this poorly, but that, you know, we tend to think brain, then heart, then gut, but maybe we should be thinking gut and then heart and then brain last.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. I'm sure I've said, I don't know if I've said on here, but I've certainly said to you, there's a teacher I follow on Facebook. She's an advocate for homeschooling, and she talks about the problem that you've just described and how it starts in school.
Yeah.
You know, you get little kids and you tell them to do the exact opposite of what their instinct is to do.
Yeah.
Their nature at 4 and 5 is to run
Yeah.
around and play. And you know, maybe not year R at school, there's a lot of play at school, but certainly by year 1 they're expected to sit in a chair and hold a pencil and do some thinking and some work,
Mm-hmm.
when really not what they want to do at all.
Yeah.
And her argument, which I thought was interesting, was that by the time kids sort of naturally slow down a bit, the risk is they're disengaged from learning because they've had that instinct sort of beaten out of them. They've lost interest, you know.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting perspective. That's what she believes. And I can certainly see a case for it. You know, do we need to do things differently? Because what happens when you beat that instinct out of somebody, you know, you end up in scrapes.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, my eldest, very much is disengaged with learning most of the time, and she finds it really stressful to learn. And is naturally incredibly active and much better with her hands or better with, you know, making Lego, for example. But the moment she has to sit down to read or write, she just can't cope with it. And you're right, we've moved her schools, not just for that reason, for other reasons too, but because, you know, she can't do bums on seats. That's
Yeah.
not in her nature.
Yeah.
You know, and
so, you know, that's why we have such a variety of jobs in the world, have a variety of people doing a variety of things, all being a cog in the machine, and that means we should all be able to learn in different ways as well.
Yeah, and why are we teaching children all the same stuff when the children aren't all the same? And I know that's probably difficult. I appreciate that's difficult to manage from being a teacher. You know, you can't bespoke for every child, but I just think that we're just very sheep dipped. Even
the risk, isn't it?
Yeah. So the reason that, sorry, cutting in and out, and I don't know who's talking.
You go.
Sorry, thank you. I guess the reason that we were sold more on her new school is because they said right throughout her infant school it's going to be much more play based, and they don't even have enough seats in every classroom for every child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Is it like a sort of Montessori type? Don't know.
A regular state school.
Yeah.
But I just think with a leadership team that perhaps understand the needs of children or have seen a more diverse range of children than perhaps her previous school had.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well,
It
then
doesn't
she'll
mean
thrive
right.
then.
Sorry.
She'll thrive in that environment.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing a lot better than she was in her previous. And the other thing we did was decelerate her a year, which again really helped because she doesn't academically keep up with kids her age when she's not interested.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. Well, good for you for recognizing that in her as well. That's perceptive, you know, and it work to make that choice for her. So
I don't know about you. Have you ever had the conversation about homeschooling?
I couldn't do it. Hands on heart, I couldn't do it. You know,
No.
so my eldest was year one during the pandemic, and that was enough. That was tough. That was really, really hard. I love the ethos of it because I love how free and independent it is, and how also outdoorsy it is. You can get your kids out doing lots of different things. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it though. I'm good. Can you hold the line? My cat is desperately trying to get in the living room. Can you just give me a second? Come on,
Good dog. Look,
come on.
someone's made a comment here. Let me read that.
There we go. Oh.
Thank you, Ray. Our gut will never steer us wrong. So I'm just reading a comment. Ray said, brilliant topic. Our gut will never steer us wrong. It operates solely on what is best for us. The head gets involved and comes up with narratives that are formed through social expectations and norms. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's true.
the head is what we've been taught.
Well, yeah, because I mean, let's think about it. We're taught knowledge, aren't we? At school, you're taught skills, obviously, and you know, I don't want to discredit what we're taught and what kids are taught at school, you know, but it's a lot of knowledge and information. And in the Google age, you know, we're getting to the stage where it doesn't have to be as prized. Surely discuss critical thinking.
I've got
and
a story about that. So my husband, as you know, is a maths teacher. And he did I don't know, a maths test or a mock exam or something. And one of the kids wrote as his answer for everything, Google it. And he was, you're not wrong.
It's an answer. It's an answer and it's correct. So that's quite like thinking. That kid's going to go.
Because reality, and we talk, you know, my husband's not precious about maths at all. We don't really need most of that stuff that we learn. And now they're talking about making it compulsory till you're 18. But I mean, when have you used Pythagoras theorem in your life?
No.
Have you?
No, I'm sorry. No, I haven't.
No. And then something else that happened to him was that he taught a class about mortgages. And he got really good. He got all the kids to look on Rightmove and kind of pick their house that they think they could buy. And then he got them to calculate what they could buy based on their part-time jobs. And like one of them was like, oh, my paper round, I can get a shed. But it was a really healthy dose of reality and also how the world works.
Yes.
And would you believe that he got in trouble for that because it's not part of the curriculum?
I can believe that. Yeah. Yeah, since when is useful information required in a school, for goodness sake?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I mean, don't even get me started on that one. Yeah, what skills are we learning for life, really? I remember doing food tech when I was at secondary school, and we learn, and my friends and I still laugh about this, we learn about sandwich manufacture. I'm like, okay, the production line at Ginsters or something.
Nice. I mean, they probably taught you not to eat those things.
Yeah, that too. But why did I why? You know,
yeah.
We do obviously do cooking as well, but this isn't really teaching me anything I need to know for my life.
I don't think they really do home economics at school anymore, do they?
I've no idea. Mine aren't at that age yet, so I don't know.
I mean, they're super useful skills.
Yeah, cooking and like, you know, domestic chores and
we do textiles. You know, learning how to sew a button on is blooming useful.
It is. I know. I don't know what they do now. I really don't.
I think anyway, we might have gone off tangent with vibes.
Yeah.
We've just gone through moaning about schools.
Should talk about vibes again.
Yeah. Well, I guess we got here because we talked about we don't teach children to connect with their intuition.
Yes.
We teach them to think, right? So just bringing that full circle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I went to a workshop, which, you know, a Hay House workshop in London. And one of the guest speakers there was Sonia Choquette, I think her name is. And she, you know, she's mad as a box of frogs, very eccentric, very woo-woo, but just a real big love energy. And she said she was always different as a child because every time something occurred in her childhood, her mum would say, how does it feel inside of you?
Oh my God.
Amazing, right?
That is amazing. What a lovely lady to do that.
And just that one simple practice that was consistent in her childhood, and she still went through mainstream education and everything else. That one simple practice has led her down a completely unimaginably successful path in life that has nothing to do with academia.
Wow. Wow.
And she really does credit her mum for all of it.
So you're going to start saying that to your kids?
I probably do, but you know what it's like in the moment.
Exactly. Go to bed.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
Yeah. I think that my eldest is probably getting to a point where that would resonate with, she might be able to start understanding that, but she's a little bit developmentally behind. So I don't think they're ready for that level of conversation yet. I don't think they would understand what I meant, but I do think that in time, I hope to teach them along those lines of not just using their brains, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's not something I've done with my children. I need to think about that because I think that's a really good idea. But certainly when I've been coaching people, I sort of in a little way. So with health coaching, one of the first things I do with people is get them to notice things. So because I think we've got so busy existing, we've forgotten to see and notice. So I get them to notice how it feels when they eat something, to notice how their digestion feels later, to notice how their mental health is, and to notice. And that's sort of all connecting back in with that sense of inner knowing that we all have, and like, as we're describing, is we're a bit disconnected from. And it's amazing what people notice when they've started on that path. They'll notice, I ate that piece of cake or whatever it was, and I didn't like it, actually. I'm just so used to it, but I hadn't really connected with that feeling. So I think you can do that at any age. You can do that with your kids. And at any time, you can just decide, I really want to notice how I feel, either physically, emotionally, in the room, in this, environment, about this, what somebody's asked of me, to sort of just make a commitment to noticing. And it really does reveal a lot of interesting stuff.
I think for me, that's the biggest benefit of yoga, and the reason for yoga is just to connect body and mind and spirit and the world around us, just connecting everything and paying attention. It is amazing how many people that when they start coming to yoga have no idea how their body feels or how they're feeling or what it's like, what silence feels like, or what the sound of your breath feels like, or how quickly or slowly you breathe. And there's such simple things that they're natural things that we do. Breath is something that we all do without thinking, but it's so thoughtless that we don't notice it.
I am now noticing my breathing now that you've said that.
Unless it's a problem, we don't notice it. But it starts with stuff that simple. And that's, I think, what we need to ingrain in children. Noticing, I think, is a wonderful way to put it. So thank you for bringing that up.
I think it's a word that everyone can understand and grasp. But you're absolutely right, and I think we get trapped in our heads way too much. And actually reconnecting with the rest of your body is enough sometimes to get you out of negative thought patterns, or feeling miserable and depressed. Let's just reconnect, get back in this body that we're inhabiting 24/7.
I think a lot of people don't even notice they're miserable or depressed. And talking of vibes, like, when you meet someone, you can tell if they're off or something's going on, or they're miserable or depressed. You think miserable bugger. But sometimes they don't even have that awareness, or it's so like inherent, like it happens so often that they have no awareness that life can be different, that you can feel different things. Almost become numb to it again because we're not noticing.
We're not noticing. But it's remarkable how you can change, and you'll have seen this. Well, you've seen this in multiple ways in your own life, and I've seen it in mine. Just tiny tweak to a tiny bit of how you show up, what you do in your life, and your whole vibe, how you put yourself out there, changes. So for me, and I know for you as well, from what we've said, eating the food that we eat, that has massive effects on how I feel. If I eat junk, that's
Yeah.
how I feel.
You eat crap, you feel crap.
Yeah, and believe me, over
Yeah.
Christmas, I
Yeah.
ate Christmas
Yeah.
food, and come January, I was like, enough.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel it. My mental health gets dragged down.
And lose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a miserable month. Let's be honest, the longest month of the year,
Yeah.
in my
It's
opinion.
like
But
the 15th day of
yeah,
January.
it's still January now. It should be February by now. It's still January. But yeah, just a little tiny tweak.
We've got another here I wanted to read.
Go on then.
So Jackie says, losing contact with our feelings and intuition also removes us from feeling compassion for others. And we're really seeing this in the increase in violence in younger generations.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? It's true, isn't it? Because you have to have compassion and understanding for yourself to extend it to somebody else, really.
It's classic charity begins at home, right?
Yeah.
And but I think self-awareness is a rare trait. I think the majority of people don't have self-awareness, which then means they become egocentric, which then means they don't have awareness or emotional intelligence of other people around them. And I think that that's possibly more common than it is not common, because I think that the world is like that. The world is full of distractions. It's watch TV, read this newspaper, listen to the news, fill yourself with fear, buy this product because it's, fall into the commercialism, eat this junk food because it's Christmas. And we just subscribe to all of that stuff because it distracts us from what's actually going on. And we've had this conversation before, and I know that you do and I don't, in terms of alcohol, but a lot of people will use alcohol to numb. The amount of people that live for the weekend or live for their next holiday, or for a bottle of wine on the sofa in the evening. That's the thing they look forward to all day because it's a distraction, it's a numbness. But it's the same, but it's not just alcohol, it's anything. It's EastEnders, it's trash magazine, it's social media, it's anything. We're just so full of distractions that we never tune in with ourselves.
I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. And it means you can bypass your feelings because you're numbing them to the point that you don't feel them. But I think when you're part of a society that encourages that, because I think it does, commercial society, I think, encourages people buy more stuff, buy more, drink the drink, take the holiday, have the shiny car. It's actually, I think it's really hard to get out of that mindset. It takes something really quite drastic to happen.
And that's normally the case. Yeah, it's normally a pivotal moment in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Like burnout for you and bereavement.
Yeah, exactly. And bereavement for me as well.
Yeah.
Like just looking at life and going, crikey,
Yeah.
I don't want to keep existing. Because if you think about it, if you're living for the weekend and you're waiting for the next holiday and you're drinking your through every weekend and all that sort of stuff constantly, where is the joy? Where is the connection? Where is the experience? Because you kind of need the low bits to make sense of the high bits. It kind of need that contrast, I think. And it you can't really feel the good stuff if you're numbing all the time. You'll always be numbing all of it. So
I talk about this a lot, that we need to honor the darkness and we need to honor the light. Like we can't just live in la positive land all the time, but equally we can't live in negativity, pessimism land all the time either. We have to learn from the darkness because there are lessons within it, and then we need to go and grow in the light. But it has to be both. One can't exist without the other.
No. So is it Jeff Brown? His name is that I share. I'm trying to remember his surname now. Immediately can't remember his surname. He talks about this a lot.
Yeah.
And the risk in an awful lot of sort of pseudo spiritual practices is they try to get you to bypass and just think about the good stuff and manifest all the wonderful things and all the actually true sort of acceptance. And his argument is that true spirituality is fully with your feet on the ground and it's real, it's reality. It's embracing the dark and the light.
Yeah, I love that. And it's only been, I mean, like 15 years I've been banging on about spiritual stuff. And it's really only been the last year or two that I've really made that observation. I really leaned into it. It was actually tarot that really helped me lean into it.
Really?
But yeah, that I really just recognized the value of the darkness, and rather than judging myself in it and thinking I shouldn't be here, or I deserve it, or life is miserable, actually, there's some kind of golden nugget going on in here somewhere. There's some wisdom, there's some growth, there's a purpose, and I really started to recognize that we can't just reframe everything or think positive or put a smile on our face, or cheer up. Like, that's actually really unhealthy.
It is. It is. And you have to go through it. You can't grow and become a better, sort of more empathic, aware person without experiencing all of these things,
But I mean, we're here for all of it, right? We signed up to this. I don't know if I want to sign up to be a human again. I kind of regret that.
What are you going to be next time?
Yeah. Next time I'm just going to be like, I don't know, a cat, probably a house cat.
A cat. Yeah. I can. Yeah, my cat would definitely recommend it 5 stars. She gets a great life.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Yeah, I'm just going to be a cat. That's my next life.
There we go. Goals. #goals.
Yeah.
All this spiritual growth and development, and I'm going to be a cat next time.
Yeah. I once saw a documentary that said if humans became extinct, domestic cats would take over the world, and I'm like, yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. Yeah, they absolutely would. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Right, on that note, we're all cats. Shall we say a good night to everyone?
So, that half hour has flown by.
Is it?
As always.
Yeah, I haven't checked the time. Yeah, it's about a half hour. Yeah.
It is.
So, I mean, I think that deserves a round 2. That one. I think that there's more to come on that conversation.
I think so. I'll read more of the book as well. I promise I'll read more than like 15% of it. I'll try and finish it, and I'll see what the conclusion is.
Yes, 46 more pages than I've read in a long time. So well done.
Lovely to see you.
And you. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.